Our language artifact is a German Pennsylvania shaving dish. It was made in Pennsylvania in 1769. The date of its manufacture is conveniently painted onto the dish here. Before we discuss the artifact in detail, let's map its context. When this bowl was manufactured in Pennsylvania in 1769, Pennsylvania was a British colony. 1760s are a time of change and transformation in the colonies. In 1760, at the beginning of the decade, France was claiming western Pennsylvania. However, the British defeated France in the French and Indian War, and French claims were released. Western Pennsylvania was now part of the British Empire by 1763. That recent French and Indian War had forever changed Pennsylvania. While Philadelphia remains a center of Quakerism, the pacifist vision of the state, founded by Quaker William Penn, has been essentially upended by the numerous French and Indian attacks during the recent French and Indian War. Nevertheless, Pennsylvania remains a state that immigrants feel welcomed. German is widely spoken in Pennsylvania in the 1760s due to the large number of German immigrants into that colony. In 1769, actual Dutch from Holland were more prevalent in New York Colony, while Pennsylvania was home to large numbers of Germans. So it would be more accurate to talk about New York Dutch and Pennsylvania Deutsch. Fort Pitt, modern Pittsburgh, represents a western outpost of British America, the edge of the frontier for Britain in 1769. The Appalachian Mountains, which run through the center of the state, are the natural boundary of expansion in British Pennsylvania in 1769. King George really does not want settlers beyond the Appalachian Mountains. The recent French and Indian War was long and extremely expensive, and King George wants no new quarrels with the natives. King George does have a point. There are still powerful nations in western Pennsylvania in 1769, as Iroquois influence stretches along Lake Erie. Britain is in debt with the recent conflict against France, and Parliament is attempting to raise revenues at this time. 1769 is 4 years after the uproar over the Stamp Act. However, Parliament has responded with the Townshend Acts, which are active in 1769. The tavern conversations in 1769 in Pennsylvania would be fascinating to hear. There might be one table discussing boycotts on taxed British goods, one table with a Quaker pacifist trying to calm down a radical revolutionary, and a table that was speaking in German. Let's now take a look at our Pennsylvania German artifact from 1769. This dish is for shaving, not eating. There are some obvious clues here. In the center of the dish, there is a pair of painted scissors. A comb is painted here, and a straight razor is here. While today folks have access to electric razors, these objects on this 1769 dish are still some of the same tools that a barber might use today. The comb especially is unchanged. This same shape has been in use since the Stone Age, when the comb was made out of bone. Let's examine the words which also indicate this artifact's purpose. It's a German Pennsylvania dish, so we have a German script running around the rim. The German reads, Scher mich hiebst und fein, dass ich gefahr der Liebste mein. 1769. Now before we translate it, we need to keep in mind that the text is poetic and from the 18th century, so some of the usage might seem unique. I will rotate the image for a better view. Scher is the imperative of scheren, or cut. The first letter looks unique, but it is a stylized S used in both English and German in the 18th century. It sort of looks like an F, but it is actually an S. Mich is the accusative direct object of ich, me. Hiebst is a unique usage here. It seems to come from the verb hauen, to cut. A past tense form of hauen is hiebst. There's that stylized S again between the B and T. It looks like a verb, but it functions like an adverb here. We already have a cut verb, scher, So this adverb heapst is modifying that verb. The adverb, also meaning cut, really emphasizes that action. Something that is really cut might be cut clean. So we will use clean for heapst because it is a cutting adverb that is emphasizing a cutting verb. Again, this is a poetic script from the 18th century, so it doesn't necessarily follow the norms of today, and the usage of heapst here is likely an archaism. Und is and. Fine can be translated as fine in English. The next word looks like da, but what looks like an H or an F is actually that stylized S again, making this word das. Das is that. Ich is I. Gefall is from the verb gefallen. It can be translated as am pleasing. Der is the definitive article the, and it is in the dative singular feminine form. Since it's in the dative case, we can translate it as to thee. Liebste is the adjective dearest, going along with the article der. Liebste is of course related to the noun Liebe or love. Finally, we have mine, which is the same as the English mine. The date is here at the end, 1769. So let's run through the translation again. Sheer, sheer. Mich, me. Heapst, close. Und, and. Fine, fine. Das, that. Ich, I. Gefall, and pleasing. Der, to the. Liebste, dearest. Mine, mine. In English, shear me close and fine, that I am pleasing to the dearest of mine. We can see that in both German and English, the fine and mine rhyme, as the words sound identical in both languages. Again, this poetic jingle indicates that this artifact is for shaving. Finally, the divot here in the pottery looks like a shirt of the bull has broken off, but that's not the case. Shaving bowls in the 18th century had this half-moon negative space intentionally placed into the rim. This gap allowed the barber to place the bowl against the chin or neck of his customer while he was shaving the face or neck. So there's a Pennsylvania German shaving bowl from 1769. It is stored at the Met Museum in New York City.